Hello everybody, how you're doing? Welcome to our YouTube channel. We are the Common Sense Sisters. My name is Yo-Yo.
My name is Ella.
Yep. If it's the first time checking out our channel, you are welcome. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and don't forget to like the video.
Like, share, subscribe. If it's your first time. If you're online, you can
join us in
by commenting so we know if anyone is online. This is very
impromptu. It's like an instant live. We have to do it. There's a heavy topic that we have to talk about. Okay.
Oh, Mother's Day.
Oh my God. Hey, how are you?
Happy Sunday.
I hope you had a good weekend.
Happy Sunday.
I hope you had a good weekend. Okay.
So today, give me 1 second of tonight, because the night live with the Common Sense Sisters.
Yes. That's good. I hope you can hear us.
Please like button, we were going through the internet yesterday, and we came across this news, which we'll be talking about today, about a Ghana couple who flogged, unfortunately, their 4-year-old daughter to death for bedwetting. Yes, so this is what we're going to be addressing to you. We're going to be telling you the story and talking about it just in general, like we usually do.
Yeah.
So, Yo-Yo, do you want me to put up the story narration? And then
yes, we can put up the story narration because we come with receipts so that we can. I'm just checking for sound.
Okay. We're hearing ourselves. Okay.
So put up the story.
This is the story.
As we saw, it's in one of the news blogs, and I will be reading it. So it says a Ghanaian couple have been arrested for flogging their daughter to death for bedwetting. The couple from Yakasa, Ghana's Western North region, have been identified, and they are 34 and 27 years old, husband and wife. They reportedly forced their daughter to sit in hot water before flogging her. The district police officer said the girl's arm was broken as a result of the abuse, which resulted in her death. It was later learned that after the incident happened on Tuesday, January 4th, the divisional commander said that the couple brought their daughter to a community clinic where she died whilst receiving treatment. And following the death of the child, they took her and wrapped her with achipong leaves, intending to bury her at midnight. So when they say they are referring to the parents of this child.
Okay.
This is very painful and sickening. I don't know how you are as a parent, husband and wife. You have sex together, you procreate. You as a mother would carry this child for 9 months or more or less. You bring this child into the world, and then you inflict pain in the disguise of discipline. This has always been, and I think it's still a pre-existing problem with African parenting, toxic African parenting, because I don't think all African parents like flog and hit their children, but majority of them, they do this.
They do this practice.
And for the fact that you can hit or beat your child or make her sit on hot water, a child to sit on
4-year-old
to sit on hot water just because she bedwetted. I cannot imagine the screams, the cries for help, the pleading and the begging this child must have been going through that night, begging her parents. Did they listen? No, they went ahead to flog her to make sure that they carried out what they would call discipline.
This is not worse than corporal punishment.
This is evil.
How can you
defenseless child? This is pure evil and pure wickedness to the highest level.
And it's funny because we had planned on talking about a topic like this, about sparing the rod and spoiling the child.
As they usually say.
Before we came across this news, and I'm like, oh, well, we can't be waiting for only Saturdays to be doing this thing at this point.
Yeah.
So, my own take on this. Thankfully, last year, a Twitter user named Uju came on Twitter and wrote about this whole issue of flogging that African parents put their children through. So it's sparing the rod and spoiling the child. which is a biblical thing or whatever.
That they always use
people
to
will say,
promote the violence.
in order if your child is not misbehaving, you have to flog them with your right hand and bringing them closer with your left hand or whatever. But are there no other ways? Why is it that parents have to flog their children? How can you flog your child, make her sit on hot water, up to the extent that she dies, following all those injuries that have been inflicted on her?
And you have the nerves to try and go and bury the child.
To go and hide your shame. To go and hide evidence of the nonsense that you've caused.
If you think that you were doing right, why did you try to go and hide it?
Why did you try to go and hide it?
They are currently locked up anyways.
Why did you try to go and hide it? And this is it's across Africa, because obviously this thing could have happened in Nigeria.
Yep,
it's happened in Nigeria. So the Twitter user named Uju, I'm going to be reading Uju's tweets. She came in and said, "Stop hitting your children. Using pain and violence to control people's behavior causes profound harm. It teaches children to be violent and accepts violence from others as a sign of love or something that can coexist with love. These lessons follow them into their relationships." What angers me a lot is when Nigerians say only Oyibo can get away with not hitting their children because Nigerian kids are different or harder, so you must beat them for them to hear well. You all know that's some racist colonialist bullshit, right? What are you saying about Nigerian children when you are insinuating that they are stupid and incapable of learning and understanding without fear, threats, pain, and violence? And in bracket, I'm going to be saying African children in general, not just only Nigerian children, because it's happened in Ghana, but we're marrying the situation. Following up what you said, what are you saying about yourself that you're incapable of imagining how to raise a child without violence? I'll end with reminding those who say you got hit as a child, but still turned out fine. You didn't turn out fine if you say beating children is good. People who think there is nothing wrong with hitting defenseless kids and using violence to control their behavior are not okay. Thanks to all engaging, providing supporting arguments, research on harm and ineffectiveness of fear, pain, violence to discipline kids. Again, to those swearing the family violence you suffered made you better. It did not. You supporting violence against children shows it harmed you. And thankfully, somebody engaged with Uju. Egondi said, if a child breaks a plate, the child gets beaten. This is an African child. Same house, a parent breaks a plate and nothing will happen. In fact, if the child is too slow in sweeping up the pieces, another beating. This doesn't teach the child how to be more careful, but the adults always get away with things. And Uju replied and said, exactly. And it teaches them they'll get beaten because they are smaller, weaker, have less power, not because that they did something wrong. Hey, adults do the same, especially since beating ends when kids can defend themselves. So the big lesson is you can use violence to control those who are weaker than you.
Okay, let's put this in perspective. If you're an adult and you do something wrong and your fellow adult hits you, is that okay?
It's not okay now. You can get sued.
Exactly.
You can get sued. Like, what makes you think that beating?
And what makes you think that because you gave birth to the child, then you have the right to be inflicting pain,
bodily harm,
and you will not, you think that you will not be held responsible because you say, I brought the child into the world, I decide how I want to. No, that's a human being. That's a human being.
I think something that we always say on this channel is respect is reciprocal, regardless of age. You have to see everybody as a human being first. I don't, even if they are a day-old baby, that is a human being. You have to respect them. How can you, as a father and a mother, beat your child, make them sit on hot water, all in the name of their bedwetting?
Like you did not bedwet.
That's their bedwetting.
I mean, I went to boarding school. People were still bedwetting up until their secondary years.
Teenage years.
Have you bothered to ask your child what's going on?
What's the problem? It could be a bad dream. It could be some
It could be psychological. It could just be
through.
part of the growing process. Why are you inflicting pain?
I don't know why parents think that it's okay to be having. It's not even a tug of war at this point because the other person cannot defend
themselves. That's
themselves.
why there are so many damaged adults. Many of them
cannot defend themselves.
So we'll be thinking that it's okay that people can talk to them anyhow, people can abuse them, they should just hide in shame. Other ones, they just go violent, they go wild. We need to stop this.
How can you?
And another thing is that when the child is able to fight back, then the violence from the parents stops. That's not discipline. Hitting your child, inflicting pain on your child, it's not discipline.
I totally disagree. That thing of spare the rod and sponge, it makes absolutely no sense.
That's violence. That's violence.
Because if the tables were turned, if it was an adult you are doing that, you know fully well that if you are disagreeing with an adult or an adult offends you,
Mm-hmm.
you cannot hit them. If you hit them, they will hit you back or they will sue you.
Exactly.
So why do you think that somebody who is smaller than an adult, which is a child in this
Defenseless.
case, a defenseless person, what makes you think that you have the right to hit them because they're your children? That you have the right to cause bodily harm, which can also lead to emotional harm. Sometimes you get permanent scars. You can see sometimes that's why
sometimes
you see people with marks on their body. They say, my mommy did this to me, or the shoe. She threw this shoe on me, she did this one to me. It's
my
like,
father flogged me with belt.
But at the end
that's
of
why
the day,
I got this mark.
And by the end of the day, I turned out right.
No, we are not okay. Right.
We are not, all of us are the beats, including me.
Including us.
We are not okay.
Yes.
We are in, and that thing of breaking plates, I totally agree with
especially African mothers.
Because I remember breaking plates in the house and I was beaten for breaking plates. But when my mother broke plates,
I asked her.
Nothing. No, it was a cup she broke. So it's like, okay, so why won't you extend this same punishment? At least hit yourself. Something should happen. I was legitimately waiting for something to happen. So if you're an adult, you cannot have conversations with your fellow. You
can't control your emotions.
You cannot pass across your message by having conversation
with your fellow human. You cannot be empathetic. You can't be compassionate.
You have issues.
There's something wrong with you mentally. You are not okay. Why do you have children?
Some people will
why give birth if you know that your own is to be inflicting pain on people? Why are you having children?
Some people will come here and say, oh, you don't have children now. Go and wait till you born your own. I had a message. We have a message from a new mother who happens to be one of Nigeria's biggest musicians. Simi. She wrote this lengthy paragraph. This was back in November. That has nothing to do with the story. This happened before this Ghanaian story, but we're going to read it out to you just so you get the gist that you must not necessarily have a child before you speak about issues
of violence.
Children.
Exactly.
And childhood violence. You get it? Because all of us will want children too.
And if you don't know how to communicate, go and learn. There are books. There are videos online to learn the art of communication.
And unlearn the nonsense.
And
because
it happens to you. It doesn't mean you should carry it.
And this
excuse of they don't know better, so they will not do better. No.
For an adult?
No. There's no excuse.
In the internet age.
If you know that how you were treated in the past when you were growing up, you did not like it. You would have preferred to be treated better and kinder and all that. Do the same. Every human being is capable of feeling pain and love and pleasure. Do the same good thing that you would have desired.
And African parents, I think they need to learn. And when we talk about African parents, I think some people think that when we're talking about African parents, is when you are 50 and above, 40 and above. No. If you're an African and you are giving birth, whether you are 16, 17, 18, 19, wherever you are in the world, you are an African parent. That's it. I think we have to, because this is not something
regardless of your location.
Ancient of days. No, this is something, because that young couple, they are 34 years
34
and
27 now, 27. Yes.
These are millennials. I mean, millennials that did this, caused this bodily harm on their child. So as we were saying, this is what Simi said in November of 2020.
Yeah. Let me read it. She said, my take is, why is it correction to beat a child when he or she is wrong, but physical abuse when you beat an adult for the same thing? Is it because they can't fight back? In quotes, spare the rod. But shame an actual rod. Raising a child takes a ridiculous amount of patience, and they will test it. Sometimes you might be so mad you want to even beat yourself join. But is spanking really the answer? When I was younger, I used to say maybe a little spanking here and there, but 95% of the time I have seen parents or caregivers spank a child is in anger, and usually for things that require a little more patience, some communication. But by design, children are the original learners and need patience. We expect self-control from people who have had the least time to master it. So have you really tried everything, or you are just programmed to hit because you haven't mastered your self-control? Junior is jumping on the bed. Why? Sherry poured food on the floor. Why? Bola broke toy. Why? He bedwetted, and so on. And if you do spank and your child adjusts behavior, is it because they see how they are wrong, or because they are afraid of you? I don't have all the answers, Sha. I haven't raised everybody's children, so I know my perspective is my own. I just genuinely wonder, have you really tried everything? Because it's easier to beat children than it is to control impulses. Last, we all need training, Sha. Because parenting is like somebody threw you inside the ocean and said, oh yeah, swim. We are learning on the job. But let's shall be learning. Even shouting, we need to work on that. That one is hard for me because I like this foundation of the culture is noise making.
God help us. God help us.
Exactly. But I'm just saying, here's somebody who wrote this, and
a new mother.
She knows, a new mother, and she knows. She knows.
I think I was once of that. Obviously, growing up, I used, because that was the only way. You do something wrong, they beat you. You do something wrong, they beat you. It doesn't still mean that you will not do it again. That's the funny part.
And sometimes you get used to the pain. Like, okay, whatever.
You get used to the pain. It's not just 1, 2, 3, 4 strokes or one this there and there. You will survive it. Anything you want to do, you will still do. If it's not changing you, as just some people that they beating, still they still turned out to be worse or the opposite of what they were beating them for. So I don't understand. How do you beat your own? How do you torture your child to death?
These are my own possible suggestions for solution. Number 1, if you know you have temperament issues, don't have a child.
And don't adopt.
Don't
go and bring other people's children.
Anne is here. Anne, welcome. You see, it's not their fault. Reasonable people are praying to have children and mysteriously have not had yet some, not to fit to having or are having without effort. Exactly. That's what we're saying.
People that are not fit to have.
If you are and having a child there is beyond just having sex. If you are mentally unstable, you have temperamental issues.
You have financial issues.
Emotional instability.
Any instability of any sort.
It is not fair to bring another human being to transfer your anger, to transfer your pain, to transfer your frustration, to transfer societal pressure on the innocent person and making this child everything.
You are putting your own trauma on. If you are not dealing with or have not dealt with your issues, please don't have a child. And I mean it via adoption or whether you're the one bringing in the child or surrogate or whatever. It's like
don't blame exactly. Especially those who are in consensual activity. I'm not even talking of those who have been taken advantage of.
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
I'm talking of those who deliberately engage in this activity. Those are the people we are referring to. Just consider somebody
4 years. What do they know? 4 years of life. For just 1, 2, 3, 4. What could you have possibly known on earth? No, the person that brought you out, that you sucked their breast, is the one that will kill you, coupled with the person you call daddy and mommy. I cannot.
The pain, the cry,
the last minutes of that girl's life.
Number 2, these are solutions. Go and educate yourself. If you cannot afford a therapist, that's fine. There are books for you to read.
You have access.
There are YouTube videos for you to watch. To educate yourself and enlighten yourself. Because this is evil. This is absolute evil, and there's no excuse. I cannot be empathetic to parents who inflict pains. I cannot. I don't care what it is, because the person you are doing it to is a minor. Number 3, we will need to know what some of the solutions are that you think when you watch this video. Leave them in the comment section. Were you beaten when you were as a child?
I was, and I'm totally against.
What did that do to you? Would you do the same to another? What would you have preferred as an avenue for correction? Most African parents, they lack the skill set, basic skill set to sit down and communicate with their own child.
We will be coming just
a series is coming up.
In the upcoming weeks, just get ready for many live videos where we'll be addressing the situation. It could be on Saturdays, it could be on the weekdays, which is why we say turn on education bell. The Saturday lives are short. Very, very short. But on the weekdays, it will be probably impromptu. We'll put them up in the community page as well. But we have to address today's situation.
Before we go to bed and we'll begin our week. Thank you for those of you who are watching.
Yes, currently.
And those of you who would watch later, please leave your thoughts and opinion
in
the comment section. It's very important that we engage in conversation and talk about this thing, because we cannot keep producing damaged adults
and repeating the same cycle of mistakes
and be excusing it and be saying it's got society
better.
Learn to know better. Educate yourself. Go online. Read. Educate yourself. Read articles. Be mentally ready. Be emotionally ready. Be financially ready. Be physically ready.
Into this
That's a life, and every life matters. Every life matters. Just remember that as you go into this week. Every life matters. It will be fair to first of all forgive your child before you engage in that conversation
and see them as a human being. Look at them, because if you look at this, if the parents had looked at her and said, "This my daughter is a human being.
That has rights.
No way. No, a human being. There's no way I will beat her. I will force her to sit on hot water that will lead to her death." If you looked at her as a human being and you had respect, there is no way you would inflict that bodily harm on that person.
Yeah.
There's no way. So that's what we have for
you today.
Like, thank you so much for
watching.
Remember to like,
share, and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next
live video or any video that we have coming out.
May common sense never depart from you. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.